Hello, everyone. My name is Mansi Sunu, and I am the head of the marketing and outreach team of Eureka. Eureka is a scientific newsletter run by the students of Sunandan Devatia School of Science, NMIMS Mumbai. Today, we have with us Dr. Deepa Arora as our interviewee for the issue 5 on the topic Unconventional Systems of Medicine. Requesting Dr. Deepa to kindly introduce yourself.
All right. Thank you so much, Mansi. We don't call ourselves a doctor because all of you have a doctor within. And of course, I'm not certified as a medical doctor. My name is Deepa Arora. I am one of the very few, one of the 30 PSYCH-K instructors in the world. And we work with a process which is called PSYCH-K, which is a process with which we can rewire and reprogram our limiting beliefs, perceptions, conditions, because any disease, any mental, physical, emotional issue, which what we call is a dis-ease, what in normal medical language we call it disease, is nothing but the way the subconscious mind perceives certain things. And psyche is a beautiful process with which we can rewire and reprogram all that which no longer serve us. We can change, we can transform our limiting beliefs and perceptions, and we will talk more about it. Yes.
Deepa, thank you so much. So I just want to let you know that this interview is recorded and this will be accessible for the 25-30 members of the marketing and outreach team of Eureka in order for us to publish this interview on our social media platforms as well. Now, I request your consent for the same. Okay, perfect. Now that we have that sorted, let's move on to the questions.
Yes,
the first question is, can you share your personal journey with us and what brought you into Psyche and give us a brief introduction as you've already did about what Psyche is? Can you let us know about your personal journey as well?
Absolutely. And that's a very beautiful question because I normally say this thing that my personal and professional is not separate because what you call professional comes from your personal self. Whether you're in corporate, whether you're a medical doctor or whosoever you are, your personal is professional and your professional is personal. So my personal journey started that I was in like back in about 25 years ago. I was in the fashion industry and I used to design clothes, and there was always a feeling of restlessness. There was always a question that we put so much of attention in looking beautiful from outside, but then what is going on inside, we don't take care of that. That led me to a very usual cliche time of conflict, suffering, pain, not being able to understand where do I belong. All of us on our spiritual journey or a journey of evolution, we go through that time where I was into a lot of conflicts that this is not what I want to do. And that led me to a quest, and that led me to a journey of finding the answers within me. And I had been very lucky that I had some very good masters, guides, mentors from all over the world. And I started with my journey by learning hypnotherapy, by learning about the chakra systems, and by learning a lot of other processes and modalities to work with the mind. And ultimately, I understood that the mind, what we know, is only 5%. The mind which is responsible for everything is subconscious mind, which is 95%. And that led me to Psyche. So I breathe Psyche, I eat Psyche, I live Psyche, I teach Psyche, because Psyche is not a profession. This is who I am. This is how I express my human journey of transformation, because the powers are not in the healer, not in the therapist, not in the doctor. The powers are within you. And Psyche is that one process which hands over the powers to you. And it's not about us, it's about you.
That's perfect. That's very good to know. Thank you. So let's move on to the second question. Can you walk us through a typical Psyche session on what exactly happens?
Absolutely. Amazing. So of course, we can get in touch with Psyche in two ways. One is learning to be the Psyche facilitator yourself, means you will be able to facilitate a Psyche session with your own self, which is what we do through the Psyche basic workshops and other Psyche workshops. And the other way is you just connect to a facilitator, like I am a facilitator and instructor, and you decide what you want to change in your lives. Again, when we work with Psyche, we don't tell you that this is what you should change. We facilitate what you're ready to change. So it's very different than therapy, and it's very different than healing, and it is very different than mentoring and guiding. With due respect, with all that, Psyche is a process where you retain your powers. So once you decide you have a limiting belief or you have a perception which the facilitator helps you to go to a point, um, it is all about getting in touch with the subconscious mind, because the change happens in the subconscious mind, not in the conscious mind. So we kind of build a connection, establish a kind of communication with subconscious mind. We get into a whole brain state. It's a technical word, but it means where you're absolutely in communication with your right and left brain, and which is a state which is an ideal state to do the reprogramming. And then the facilitator facilitates psyche change or a session where you reprogram that new belief, which is a life enhancing belief, with the old limiting belief. And that's how it flows. It's very experiential. It's we don't have the psyche sessions over YouTubes and all that, just for the reason because it's very experiential. It's very beautifully intimate, and the powers are within you. But that's all I can tell you, that the whole idea is to make the changes in the subconscious mind. And for that, we need to be in a whole brain state. And we create that state with the psyche steps, and then we make the change.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Our next question is, how does Psyche differ from other methods of subconscious programming like hypnosis or NLP?
Amazing. So Mansi, of course, I had been an NLP coach and I had been a very famous hypnotherapist. So I have a lot of respect for all the processes and modalities. So like how we say that, there are many ways to reach to divine. You choose your personal one. So with all due respect, with all the processes and modalities, because I've worked with it, there are still a few differences which were very interesting to me, and that's what it led me to Psyche. The number one difference is when we work with Psyche, the powers are within you. It is not that the healer or the therapist decides that this is what you should do. Okay. Two, we work with the subconscious mind from the present state, means we don't need to dig into the traumas, and we don't need to know the reasons why this happened and who did this to us. It is not important why this happened and who did this to us. What is important is what do you want instead. So it's a very progressive approach. So we don't need to do the shadow work. We don't need to go through those difficult emotions for which many people are not ready. Yeah. Another very beautiful difference is that most of the times when we work with other processes and modalities, we're not sure whether the person, we call the person the partner because it's a partnership work, is actually in the whole brain state, because it could be a split brain state where whatever you do just remains on the upper layer. It doesn't become the part of the subconscious mind. So there is no sustainability. So that is why we run into patterns and we run into the same things again and again. Something changes for some time and then you're back to the square one, because the changes are done in a state which is not a whole brain state. Yeah. So that's typically is very different when we work with Psyche. It's sustainable. The changes are permanent. Another very important thing is it doesn't take 15 years of long work or 15 months of long work. Changes are quick, swift, effective. Psyche is very simple, very effective. You just need to be ready for it.
That's fascinating. That's good to know. Now, our fourth question is, can you share specific examples of success stories that illustrate the impact that Psyche can have?
Amazing. See, be it any area of your life, life is a comprehensive experience of going through different dynamics, be it relationships, be it your health, be it spirituality, personal power, self-esteem. Any area of your life, actually, in the back, there are limiting beliefs. Yeah. So when we work with psyche health and well-being, there is a specialized way that we work with the chronic diseases and allergies and these kind of conditions. So there are a lot of success stories where I have someone who came with the cirrhosis and had a skin issue, and we did a psyche session with the person. And then after a few days, she reported that for some time it got better, but then it again got worse. So it was not the skin issue. Underlining, there was a belief that she's not good enough. As soon as the cirrhosis, the skin allergy got better, her parents started to tell her that now you should go out and you should fend for yourself and you should work. And that was like, whoa, no, but I'm not good enough. I'm not confident. So the skin condition was an outcome. So very beautifully, when she worked with herself on her good enough belief, she never had the same skin condition again. So in another process, someone was running through into a pattern of relationships, attracting a partner who was abusive again and again and again and again. And we worked with the psyche session. It is never about others, it is about your own self. So it was all about that. There was a hidden perception about men which we take from our childhood, certain experiences, that men are not trustworthy. So there was men are really not the ideal beings to trust with. So she wanted a good partner, but because of her beliefs, every time she would just attract what she had a belief about. We don't attract what we want, we attract what we believe in. So she worked with many processes and modalities, but then when ultimately we worked with her own transformation of the perception about men, so by changing her perception about men, she could attract a very good life partner in her life. So there are many examples. My own life, I had a kind of a spiritual ego when I used to work with other processes and modalities. So it's like, I am the healer, I am the fixer. So when I work with psyche, I absolutely understood and transformed the perception of the separation. So psyche literally absolutely brought me to a space where I was absolutely in honor with the powers you and me we have together. It's not about me. So I think for me, I had a huge revelation on my own spiritual journey that the best guide is the one who allows you to see your powers, not her or his powers. So it had a huge personal spiritual transformation in my own life. So any area of your life, it could be, I had a partner who was really struggling with money, corporate job, and then he got sacked out of his job, never got another job. Every time there was a job, something would go wrong, and ultimately boiled down to a belief that when you are rich and when you have too much of money, you get into bad habits. So that never led him to have money, that never led him to retain money. So every time he would have a lot of money, he will make sure that the money doesn't stay with him, because in the back of the mind, the belief was that I'll become a bad guy if I have too much of money. So look at the conflicts. Yeah.
Okay, these stories are truly inspiring. Thank you for sharing them with us.
On and I know we're not on time. Yeah.
Perfect. So could you share some quick mental health tips or exercises from Psyche that students could try daily?
Absolutely. The first and the foremost tip is be the greatness who you are. And this is a beautiful quote by Rob Williams. Rob Williams is the founder of Psyche. And if you've heard of Dr. Bruce Lipton and you've heard of Biology of Belief, he is one who has absolutely dedicated his life towards Psyche. So the first tip is recognizing that you're very powerful. The powers are within you. And the second tip is it's all about making a choice. The moment you make a choice and the choice is within you, everything is within you. All you need to do is to make a choice. And when we started with personal and professional, so my biggest tip is always There is nothing called personal and professional. Whether you are working with corporate, or whether you are a pilot, or whether you are a chef or a housewife or doing whatever, everything comes from a stack of good and life enhancing beliefs. The institutions are not separate from humans. So over a period of time, we are taught this split, that this is my personal, this is my professional. How would you grow if you've not grown as a human being? How would you grow an industry, a business, an organization, an institution if you're not on a path of growth within yourself? So businesses are created out of humans. So your first and foremost attention and intention should be towards your own self transformation. So self transformation is the best gift you can give it to yourself.
I'm hoping all of these tips help our viewers as well. Perfect. Okay. Our next question is, are there specific cases where Psyche is most effective when paired with other traditional medicinal interventions?
Absolutely. See, there had always been a path of medical and paramedical. Of course, when we work even with Psyche Health and Wellbeing, we never promote that you should leave medicines or whatever, because whatever you need to do, you need to do. It's a beautiful parallel, it's a very beautiful parallel path. So it's absolutely okay with whatever you are doing. But the whole idea is, eventually, when you work with your beliefs and when you transform the perception of the things which are coming in your way, so even while you're having a medicine, the effect is more positive. While you are taking some healing, you're more open and receptive to it. While you are going to a counselor or taking some guidance and mentoring, you're more open to receiving. So absolutely, it is up to you. But when it comes to me, for me, it is like Psyche is one ocean. For me, all rivers got merged into it. I just worked with Psyche, and there had never been any need for me to do or work with anything else. But it's absolutely up to you. Psyche beautifully gets aligned with other processes and alternative ways of healing you work with.
People often go for therapy and NLP and all of these courses and all of these things to heal themselves, not just to treat their disease or anything. They try to heal themselves from within. So I feel like even Psyche is something that is very inspiring in terms of just working with somebody and working with a lot of people. And it's completely different from therapy as well. So
absolutely,
it's great.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, may seem, it's very scientific, very neurological, but it's a very beautiful union marriage of the science and spirituality, because science has come from spirituality, Mansi. So the 5% of what we see is conscious mind, and the 95% is subconscious mind. So similarly, it is only the 5% what we see is known to us. 95% is unknown and uncertain. So science has come from spirituality. So at one side, we've got the science, and it comes from spirituality, and it beautifully ties into the neurology, the study of epigenetic expression, neuroendocrinology. It's very beautiful merger of the science and spirituality.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
We'll move on to our next question. So for those who feel skeptical about alternative approaches, what would you say to encourage them to try Psyche?
Absolutely. It's okay. A fair amount of skepticism we all have, because that also goes into because we have different religions, cultures, traditions. The good thing about Psyche is it is not tied to any specific belief, culture, religion. See, I live in UAE, and it's such a beautiful place where there are many religions, cultures. Psyche doesn't interfere into any religion or belief. So when it comes to Psyche, the skepticism absolutely goes, because you can just go and read about biology of belief, that there are scientific proofs that how a genetic expression can choose to express itself is also in your own powers. So I would say that just go and have a session or a small psyche facilitation, because it doesn't interfere into any beliefs or religion or culture. It's pretty open. It is very scientific. And I have never witnessed any skepticism when it comes with psyche, especially when someone has understood it in a right way, because it is absolutely science based. Yeah. But again, if someone is skeptical, I would say everybody has a timing. There's a divine timing. When you're ready for it, then you're ready for it. Because when we work with psyche, we don't force you. We patiently allow you to be aware that at the end of the day, you're your own doctor and healer. Yeah. But a good introduction and a good awareness about psyche definitely takes care of all the skepticism or anything else you have in your mind.
Great, that's good to know. Now, our next question is, how do you see psyche evolving or integrating into wellness and therapy?
See, psyche is not a new process. Rob Williams brought this gift to the planet Earth 38 years ago. And all of us, Mansi, we have witnessed a very different kind of an awareness during the COVID time. You know, from a small scale to a big scale, from a human level to a professional level. All of us, we witnessed that everything is belief. Even your immune system is connected to your stress hormones and what you believe, and accordingly how your immune system works. And we know what is happening in the world, the wars, the glacier meltings, and a lot of global chaos we have. I think we are at that time. We are at that curve of the evolution where if we do not take our powers into our hands, our own hands, I don't think the survival is possible. And actually, it's not the time for survival. We don't need to survive. We need to thrive. Yeah. So we are all on a journey of global evolution. So the time has come. If we do not claim our powers, then there is suffering. There is an absolute suffering. So psyche absolutely very beautifully merges with medical, with other alternative ways of therapy and healing, because it is all about understanding that it is your wish and will which is not only necessary. You may wish to change this, but you need to have an aligned belief, and the beliefs are stored in the subconscious mind. And unless we have a simple effective process to work with that belief, the meditations and the other things are not going to be as effective. I do meditate. Of course, I'm a meditator, but I know since the time I started to work with psyche, how my beliefs got aligned with certain things, and the quality of meditation improved a lot. So I think psyche is a very beautiful foundation for you to work with your own personal transformation, and then working towards the global evolution.
Because I think even personally talking to my friends after the COVID and everything, everyone's gone through a very emotional turmoil, and people have addressed the fact that they have problems, but they don't know how to help themselves. Because again, due to a lot of things that happen in their day-to-day lives, the things, the work, the assignments, the job that they have to do every day, people are apprehensive about going to therapy or seeking that help, because they think it's just going to open gate a gateway of a lot of emotions. So psyche, I understand that psyche is not a medium that works that way, and it just helps you for the better.
So yeah, so it's like absolutely, as you said, that it takes a lot to do that kind of a shadow work, and just like opening the floodgates of the trauma. You don't need to do that. Yeah, and another thing which I always say that yes, there is a lot of opening after COVID, because even God helped those who help themselves. So we cannot deny it. Yeah, we cannot deny it, because you have to take that step forward for whatever you may call it: God, divine, Allah, energy, vibration, universe. But then it is tied to your own vibration. Yeah, there is a there is a microcosmos, and then there is a macrocosmos. It needs to be in alignment.
Great. Thank you so much for answering the questions, being with us today. We'll be moving on next to a very interactive session or round where I'll be stating statements, very general statements, and you'll have to let us know if it's a myth or a fact. So this is called as a myth or a fact round. Now moving on to it, the first question is, anyone can practice, the first statement or question is, anyone can practice Psych-K on themselves?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Is that a
yes.
myth or a fact?
Yeah. No, it's a fact. Anybody can practice and anybody can work with Psych-K. It is a fact.
Okay, perfect. So our second statement is, Psych-K is a spiritual practice.
Psych-K is a spiritual practice having psychological benefits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's neither a myth or a fact.
It is a Psych-K is a process having a lot of physical, emotional benefits.
Okay, perfect. The third question is, or statement is, self-help techniques like Psych-K are as effective as therapy.
100% fact.
Yeah. Okay. The fourth one is, Psych-K changes beliefs immediately.
Absolutely. Immediately, in no time. Yes, absolutely. It's a fact.
Our fifth statement is, results from Psych-K are instant for everyone.
Depends, because at the end of the day, it is process plus action equals to results. So Psych-K is not about just having a Psych-K process. It is very beautifully connected with something what we call is action. There is no result without action. So I would say it's a fact and a myth. It's somewhere in between. It is the process plus action. Actually, the action part is included in the process. So it is the balance plus action equals to result. We call it a Psych-K balance. So that is what it is.
Okay. Perfect, Deepa. Thank you so much for joining with us today and enlightening us about Psych-K.
I really enjoyed it. That was beautiful, quick, and really nice. Thank you very much.
So much. Thank you. Shall work with you further and see you again. Thank you. Bye-bye.